Welcome back to the next Average Podcast, the Shelby Nick Average Podcast, or as we like to call it, Aw Snap. Good snap for today. My name is profile picture. Well, that's Shelby. And you know how we started off. Today's date, of course, got to make sure that we throw that in there. Can't have anything going awry. So today's date is Tuesday, April 9th. And let's get into some how you doing. So how you doing, Shelby?
Dude, I was able to make up a pretty decent NBA list, with the season coming down to the end. Not much too much terrible news. Standings are pretty much where they lie, and so I made I think a pretty decent list of things we'll get into later. With the short time I did have today, I learned some news that I'm actually going to break out on the podcast. Did you know you're going to be not my co-pilot?
I did know that I was not going to be your co-pilot. I got
Dude.
a call from my dad about that.
Yeah, so of course the co-pilot we're talking about the circuit we've been hinting at. But dude, that's dope. That's really dope. I'm sad you're gonna be out of my car, truthfully. I've made it where it was gonna have some decent music. Made a playlist, all that, just so you can just not be in there. But I'm glad you're gonna be participating and racing and all that, and I think it just adds a bit more flair to it. Especially with how
Yes.
consistent your car is, I'm really excited for that.
Yes, so for all of the viewers, me and Shelby, we're drag racers. We like to go out, put the pedal to the metal in a safe environment.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's a big event where I live at and where Shelby lives at, to where we are going to be able to take our race cars and go drag race them at a track and then actually drive the race car to a different track, race it there, and then drive the race car back to a different track. So it's about 4 days, I believe 3 race days. But so it's
Mm-hmm.
pretty nice to just be able to go out, cruise the car, and really kind of be able to tell people that, like, even though this is a race car, like, I can still drive it anywhere that I want to.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, hell, me and Nick are going to have little cargo racks that you see on SUVs on the back. Mine's going to be holding my tires and my fuel jugs. Nick's is going to be holding about the same. So it's fun. Kind of like what you were saying. It adds a little bit more flair to it. It's not just racing. It's not just cruising. It's a mixture of the two. Which, you know, people who do race or work on cars or aware of cars understand that when you rag on something, it takes a lot of endurance for that car to also be able to drive 100 plus miles to the next one. So I think it's a true testament of how well you can build your car, how well you know your car, and of the such. And there's a little competition I'm wanting to propose on you, Nick. So
Ooh, we all love competition.
we love competition. So there's a go-kart racing during one of the
Oh,
days.
oh, oh! I love me some
Now,
go-kart racing.
what should we put in the line? Because I'm ready to bet the mortgage. You know me.
Oh, well,
Pink
I don't got a
slips.
mortgage I can bet there. Um, I don't
Yeah, I
know.
don't
I don't
know.
know what we could bet.
Yeah. Okay. Here, we'll do this. We'll
What
talk
if
about
we
more
just
off the
do?
pod. Oh, okay. Go on.
As I say, what if we just do like a dinner? Like
Okay.
we bet whenever, because obviously me and you are gonna see each other in the future. It's not like I'm disappearing from everybody. But so, like,
Okay.
during the summer when we are able to kind of see each other in person and whatnot, we get the group together. Loser buys dinner.
I'm done for that. B-dubs. That way we can have the mean shits afterwards.
Mm. Mm-hmm. That sounds, yeah.
All right.
Dang, bookmark it.
B-dubs. We're gonna shake
I
over
want you I
over the
want you to know,
pod.
Shelby. I just want you to know. I have background in the go-kart industry.
Yeah. Well, I don't truthfully, but I was really good at Need for Speed Pro Street, so
I got background in
I
some
got race
go-kart
lines on point.
proficiency. You do. We both got racing blood in us. However, I used to work at a go-kart place, so
That is true, but they also weren't near as fast as the ones I think in Branson. Wait, you might have raced there before, haven't you?
mayhaps.
Damn it! You know what? Hell with it. I got faith in me. I got faith in my. I'm gonna go in there looking like what the hell is that Mario Mario's Rungetti? I don't know, whatever Mario something. I'm gonna be looking real NASCAR-ish, Dale Earnhardt,
You
and
can look how
I'll
you want
make sure
to.
I'll have my racing gloves on. Don't worry about it.
You can look however you want
I'll
to,
wear
but
my helmet.
I'm gonna be the reincarnation of Max Verstappen. All right, who is having a absolute chokehold on F1 racing lately. That's gonna be me out there.
All
You don't
right,
even know.
well, all right, well, we'll hold you to it. We'll
We'll
hold you
know
to it
here
and
in
trust.
about we'll know here in about 2 or 3 weeks time
Yep,
whenever we're actually able to be able to do it.
yep. And for the podcast, you'll know. You'll know because I assured there'll be some shit talking as soon as we get done.
Oh, 100%.
There'll be shit talking for
100%.
sure. But yeah, other than that, that's how I'm doing. I like how every single time we do this, we get on an extreme tangent. But that's
That's
how
what
I'm
makes it
doing,
fun.
Nick. Exactly. How's you doing?
Well, I'm doing good. I got news that, instead of being a co-pilot for this little drag circuit, I'm going to be able to race my own car.
Yep.
And I do want to throw this out there that when I got asked if I wanted to take my car, I went, that sounds awesome. However, you're going to have to ask Shelby as well because I was supposed to be his co-pilot.
Aw.
So I made sure that this was a clear consensus decision from everybody before I just snagged it. And
Yeah,
with
for
that being
sure.
said, of course I snagged it. It's going to be fun. Be able to get in the driver's seat again. And that's just for, drag racing. This past weekend, I kind of dabbled my toe in something that has been lost for a long time in my soul. When I was a
Okay.
little kid, I used to really enjoy WWE.
Oh, dude, I was so upset I wasn't able to watch anything.
This past weekend was WrestleMania, and I sat down and I watched WrestleMania, and I felt like a kid again.
Yeah, dude, there
It
was a
was
bunch of clips of like the old wrestlers coming out and all that.
it was awesome. Cause like obviously I'm college now, so high teens, low 20s, just being able to, and I watched wrestling until I was about 12 or 13 years old. Because as a little kid, once you find out that wrestling is fake, then you go on a hiatus
Yeah.
and and then you become that person, you become the person that's always in like everybody's ear that's like, "Oh, it's fake, right?"
Yeah,
I got over
you
that.
become the asshole that tells like your little sibling that Santa Claus isn't real or something like that to like
You see,
other people.
I got over that. I've started dabbling in WWE. I don't feel like I've had enough time to really sit down and watch every Monday and every Friday night. But I mean, there's been some pay-per-views here and there that I've caught. I caught Money in the Bank a while back. I caught the Royal Rumble. I caught this past Royal Rumble, which was really fun. And then yeah, this past WrestleMania. Oh, oh my God. It was fantastic because coming back, you're at the very end of all the storylines. So you kind of got to pick up what's going on with where and whatnot.
Okay.
But like, there's people that like are brand new that like I'm rooting for. There's people that I knew from when I was a child and watched the WWE. I was rooting for The Miz to win. You know how weird that is?
What? Yeah.
The Miz to win. He was like the perennial bad guy when I was a kid for like years. Years. So it was like weird. And then at the very end, now there was one person that I really enjoyed before I left WWE, and I was a big fan of Roman Reigns. Now obviously, Roman Reigns has become the big dog. Roman Reigns has become the tribal chief
What
for
a
about
sweet damn name, dude.
for about 4 years. I mean, he held the WWE Universal Championship for 4 years, and so I kind of kept up with it a little bit here and there because I am a fan of Roman Reigns. Seeing that match against Cody Rhodes, same thing as well with like The Miz, where it was weird to root for him. It was weird seeing the love and support for Cody Rhodes as well,
Hmm.
because Cody Rhodes was the same person. He was like not
He was a
necessarily
heel.
a yeah, he was a heel. He wasn't necessarily like the worst of heels, but like when he was in WWE, I saw him as the dashing Cody Rhodes. I saw him as the undashing Cody Rhodes who changed the Intercontinental Championship. And then Stardust, which was just weird. Stardust was just weird. But so to see all the love and support from him to him was kind of cool. But again, I last thing that I really like sat down and watched, I was a big fan of Roman Reigns, so I was wanting him to beat Cody Rhodes. But
Yeah.
seeing everybody come back was so fun. I mean, John Cena makes a return, which was awesome to me because of how much I loved John Cena as a kid. Loved rooting for him. I know you had your little differences because of who you enjoyed watching wrestling.
Triple H, baby. With that damn WrestleMania, bro. What year was that? Was that like '08? It was
Something like
somewhere
that.
around there. Dude, when I heard John Cena's music come on, I want to gouge my damn eyeballs out because I just knew he just got off that shoulder injury or tear or
Oh,
whatever.
you're talking about the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, when he came back in Madison Square Garden from his like torn pec.
What a dick, dude. What a dick. What
But
a
so
dick.
John Cena came back for this WrestleMania. The Rock came back for this WrestleMania. Even
Undertaker.
Undertaker made an appearance. It's
So
like,
so let me ask you this though. With all the new character or with the old characters coming back, was it like force feeling? Like did it feel like they were trying to get the old crowd with the old characters and blend it with the new crowd, or was it organic?
no, it was very organic, in my opinion. I didn't feel like
Okay.
anything was really forced. It's funny that like you are a Triple H fan because now he has taken over like the role that Vince McMahon had. Like Triple H is
Yeah.
now in control of all the storylines and who's doing what in the company and whatnot, and he
Uh-huh.
is cooking.
Oh,
I mean,
dude.
he
He
is
is very
cooking.
passionate about it. Like obviously I don't know Vince McMahon, but from a viewer standpoint, it just sounded like he was trying to get like the money and all that because when times change, so did he, kind of thing. Which I
Yeah.
get that to a point, but it feels like Triple H really understood the heels. He really understood. Because I mean, hell, he was in DX, which is like one of the greatest heel groups there is. And on top
I
of
got
Triple
two
H being the
words
King of
for
Kings,
you.
suck it. Oh, dude, love it. Did I tell you the story about how I got in trouble at school for doing that?
I think you've told me, but go ahead and tell the viewers, you know?
Okay. So I was in, I want to say seventh grade or so, and I had a DX shirt on, right? And I, I was in art class, and I had a teacher. Yeah, I'm not gonna say her name. That's ridiculous. Um, a art teacher that was like loved me, but then it was one of those situations where you can tell she had some shit going on at home, and she was not good about not taking it out on everyone else. And so, I was in her art class, and she also taught history, and so I was in her art class and history. So I just got done with art class, and then I literally just stayed in the room for history. So we, me being a kid, I wouldn't say I was sheltered, but like I got in trouble for stuff that I didn't think was a big deal or was like problematic. And I didn't get the whole suck it thing. I just knew DX did it. And I was like, yeah, sure. I love Triple H. Like, Heartbreak Kid. He's pretty cool too. And so I was in history, and I sat next to this kid. I don't remember his name, but I sat next to this kid, and he was just like a smartass. He was just a good old know-it-all and all that. And he got a question wrong, but I knew the question. And so he rose his hand up, said the wrong answer. I said the right answer. And this guy is notorious for making fun of me because, like, where I went to school, I was like, not the right last name. That kind of vibe makes sense. I went to school in a small town. And so if you don't have the right last name or knew the right people or anything like that, you were kind of swept under the rug. So this guy would make fun of me all the time for that. And so I got up and just DX'd. Like, I mean, he was probably, I don't know, 2 feet from me. I mean, he was like sitting right next to me, and I just DX'd right in front of his face. And the art teacher, or well, yeah, the history/art teacher told me to sit outside. And then after a while, she like just sent me to the principal's office when I talked to the principal. And he's like, "Well, Shelby, do you understand why that was wrong?" I said, no. He's like, well, you can't tell a kid to suck it. I was like, why? And he's like, well, and he was trying to explain to a like seventh grade kid or whatever it was that like telling your classmate to suck your dick is not very, cash money. And so that just, ever since then, like I love DX, but ever since then, I'm like, DX got my heart.
That is hilarious. Trying to hear, I just trying to think of like what the principal could say at that point is.
Yeah, he just like, you can't tell a kid to suck it. I was like, well, why not? He's like,
But that's the beauty of the WWE. Like we've said it before on this podcast, but like no other no other sporting event. Now I get that it's entertainment, but like you don't get those promos in any other place. Nobody gets on the mic and shit talks their opponent or tells their opponent to suck it. Nobody does that anywhere else.
exactly. And I'm glad that Triple H is now the face because I can see a world where that gets more into it. Because honestly, so you watch WrestleMania in the crowd, how much like teenagers and adults were there, like compared to kids?
I'm gonna be honest, I did not pay a lot of attention to that. I know George
That's fine.
Kittle was in the crowd, and I know Jason Kelsey and Lane Johnson were in the crowd.
Not for long though, because they joined.
Yeah, well, Jason Kelsey and Lane Johnson, yeah, they may or may not have hopped over the guardrail and joined the fight, but that's a different situation for them.
Yes. Please, if you ever go to WrestleMania crowd, do not do that.
Do not. Do
That is a
not.
good way to get actually chokeslammed.
Yeah, those fake spears will turn real fairly fast.
Yeah, for fairly fast. Yeah, pretty quick. Next thing you know, you're gonna be like, "Wow, this is what the wrestlers go through. This is serious stuff."
But just yeah, going back to like I don't know, seeing Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, all of the young people, or all of like all the people that I grew up with wrestling still there, or still like making their mark. WrestleMania 40, I was on FaceTime with my girlfriend, and I was telling her, like, this is not the right time to get back into wrestling, because I'm watching peak. Like, for football terms, this is getting into football, watching the Super Bowl. I mean, this isn't what I'm going to get on a random Monday night or a random Friday night, but wow, is this fun to watch. And
I
I
feel
did
like
too. Even last night, I was watching the Raw after WrestleMania, and I was like, yeah, I think I'm getting back into wrestling. I really do, because it was just fun to watch again.
yeah. So is it because I remember I was just not really trying to get back into it, just to be like, I wonder what the state of it is. After being so away from wrestling for I don't know 10, 15 years, I'm like, I wonder what the state of it is. And when I watched it, it was the people in like the pink, purple, and blue like long pants, and I was like, I'm not about this
There
because it was so
was,
like cheesy. Now, is Triple H doing a good job of kind of taking the cheesiness out, but still implementing the drama line or the storylines and the drama and all that?
yes,
Yeah.
Triple
Yeah,
H has
dude.
done a very good job of kind of turning it back. I mean, he's got Pat McAfee on the Raw panel, and like, so like all of that. And Pat McAfee, you're not going to censor him in any way. He just says what he thinks, and that's exactly what I feel it is necessary, because it was that for those couple of years, and I know exactly when you're talking about. But yeah,
Hmm.
just the cheesiness, the overdoing it. It was just
Yeah.
very like in your face, out there. This is what's going on. He's really toned it back, and he said that his promo at the beginning of WrestleMania 40 was that this is a new era. And so he really
Oh.
he's gotten away from that, and he's implementing like his own things, and it's great. And even because like or I know it's fake, it's fake, there's
Hmm.
still sometimes where like you're not going to imitate the sound of somebody slapping some dude on the chest. I mean, those things happen for real.
Yeah.
And last night I saw a clip. It wasn't even part of a fight. It was a backstage moment where a woman just chucked a chair at another woman's head, and the chair like hit her in the head. There was no blocking it or anything. It straight up hit her in the back of the head. And I was like, "Oh my god.
Yeah.
Wow."
Oh. So
It
are
came
they
out of
like
nowhere, and I was like, "Okay, let's do it."
right? Hell yeah. So with when you say Pat McAfee, you can't censor him and all that. Obviously, one of the things he does censor is like, or I'm sure he does in some capacity, but it's like the cussing and all that. Are
It's
they like
there.
it's there?
It's there.
Bro, I'm watching. That's it. You convinced me. You
So,
convinced me because that was always my beef. It's like, how can you have these men so angry at each other and like you're a doo doo head, Like that's not real. But yeah, if they're calling each other names, oof, dude,
I can't I can't remember a specific moment if the wrestlers do it, but I know for a fact Pat McAfee cusses when he's on the headset.
oh, that means yeah, it means fair game. Well,
Yeah.
good, dude. That's I don't. There's so much passion and like kind of back to the whole Triple H saying the new era stuff. That's what it's all about, dude. Like that's to me, it's like wrestling's not children. They're too into like Fortnite and games and Blippy and stuff like that. Like leave the leave the fighting entertainment to like the people who don't want to give up their childhood kind of thing.
Exactly.
I'm ready
And I
for
mean,
it, dude. I'm down. Next time you
it
come
was
up, we're gonna watch Friday Night SmackDown.
I had I had on my TV, I had the national championship game, and on the computer right next to it, I had Monday Night Raw. Dude, it was so beautiful last
What
night.
a combo! Yeah, what a combo.
It was
So
a couple.
speaking of that, I think we can kind of transition into to more sports. How was the championship game? So
So
UConn pulled it out.
I wrote down a bunch of notes for the championship
Oh,
game
okay.
because I mean it was the storyline of the entire bracket. Like nobody knew which one seeds were going to show up, but like for the Sweet 16 and the Elite Eight and the Final Four, things were kind of playing out. Real quick before I get into the actual national championship game, there was a stat that popped up on the screen. It was a 14.4 point difference in like the margin of victory was the average for this tournament. So on average, teams were winning by 14 to 15 points a game.
That's crazy, really.
That it's the second most in history of the tournament since they moved it to 64 teams. And I mean it definitely felt like it towards the later rounds. Because the early
Yeah.
rounds you kind of expect it. 14-3 seeds, 16-1 seeds, like or the 16 versus the 1 seed, the 14 versus the 3 seed. Like you kind of expect it there. But like once you got into like the Sweet 16, there were still being blowouts and stuff like that. I still enjoyed it. I'm
Yeah.
just saying that normally you get closer endings than that. It didn't feel like there were as many buzzer beater or close games as there normally are in the past.
I can see that.
Now, going to the national championship game. University of Connecticut versus Purdue. The big overglowing storyline was it is the best player in college basketball versus the best team in college basketball. And boy, oh boy, did it show last night. I mean, just to go over UConn, they had a plus 140 point difference throughout the tournament. That was the best in history. Their second place was only about like 124 or something like that.
That's nuts,
UConn
dude. God damn.
throughout the round of 64, the round of 32, Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final 4, and National. So 6 games. Throughout 6 games, they beat their opponents by a combined 140 points. That is absolutely insane. Once again, through 6 games. Going to Purdue, they had the best player in Zach Edey, and he showed it as well last night. He had 37 points. UConn, or not UConn, Purdue as a team scored 60. So Edey had like, I believe the stat was like 62% of Purdue's points.
That is nuts.
And like again, it really showed because Purdue only had 2 bench points. Purdue only had 2 players score more than 5 points. And I mean, UConn being the best team out there, UConn had 4 players in double digit scoring. Purdue, throughout 40 minutes of basketball, made 1 3-pointer. 1 3-pointer in 40 minutes of basketball. I can do that. And this is a dude who hasn't touched a basketball gym competitively in 7, 8 years. I mean, we might go to the YMCA, play recreational basketball, but I haven't played an actual basketball game in God knows how long, and I could probably make a 3-pointer in 40 minutes.
And you know what's really crazy? I wasn't able to watch the game, but what's really crazy is the fact that when you have such a big physical force down low like that, you figure they'll give the shooters enough space.
Yeah.
But for them to not take advantage of it whatsoever, and that could have been UConn just playing really good defense, and maybe they did have that space, but they closed out real quick.
Well, so
But
looking
that's
at the game,
nuts.
it was more of UConn understanding Purdue. UConn understood that Zach Edey was gonna get what he's gonna get. I mean, that's why he ended up with 37 points. UConn made sure to lock down everybody else.
Right. You can only
But
do
it's
so much with one player.
Yeah, but it's still so crazy to me that you still have four shooters on the court at any given moment, and you can only make one 3-point attempt. They shot six 3-point attempts, but they only made one in 40 minutes of a basketball game. That's crazy to me.
Yeah, for sure.
And then
Yeah,
last but
and
not least,
especially in this time of year, or not this time of year, but this era of basketball, NBA more so, but college still feels the effect of it. You just cannot have that amount of twos and that such a low amount of threes. It just causes horrible spacing and just especially with how people are able to shoot now, where there's people shooting like when I was a kid. If you shot like 32, 33%, 35% from the field or from 3 point, you were you were a shooter. Like they played on you. Now 35 is below average. Like now you have 40, 42, hell, even 45% shooters. That is insane that they can shoot that well from three. So yeah, you just have to shoot. You have to let it rip.
and then last but certainly not least, once again, going over the big overarching storyline of best team versus best player was the amount of assists. Purdue had 8 assists in the game.
All does that?
8. They had more than likely, honestly. UConn had 18. And I mean, it was like at the beginning of the game, Purdue really was able to hang in there when Zach Edey had 14 of Purdue's 19 points or whatnot, and the score was 18-19. But like once you
Mhm.
got towards the second half of the game, it really started to show where like teamwork is gonna outdo any player out there. Now, don't get me wrong. UConn has a lot of great players. They have a lot of players, not a lot of players, but they do have NBA talent on the floor. But it's the same time to where they're not reliant on only the NBA talent like Purdue is.
Yeah.
So that's what I wrote down for the men's game. I can also talk about the women's game because pretty much the exact same thing in my point, where it was best team versus best player, and the best team won as well in that. Excuse me, voice crack. Because
Right. And
obviously
and who won that? Like it was Iowa and Caden Clark versus
versus South Carolina,
South Carolina.
and I mean I really say that because South Carolina went back to back. They lost. South Carolina lost all 5 starters from last year's national championship team, and they had a perfect season this year.
Yeah, I
Like
think at that point it goes down to coaching
Yeah,
for
and
sure.
it's not a perfect season as like oh they won both their or they won the regular season championship, the conference tournament, and it was a perfect season as in they went
No,
38-0.
so they didn't drop a game.
Yeah, versus Caitlin Clark who put up 30 points and was still absolutely stunning on the court. I mean, just her ability to essentially be Steph Curry of women's basketball
Truly,
is
I'm really excited for the next generation of women basketball, dude. Like, I mean, you have a lot of these women declaring for the WNBA, and I think now it's really going to be bumping it up in terms
yeah
of
with a lot of
competitiveness. And you even have like the WNBA players now, like the stars. I don't remember her name, but she's an older gal. She even made a comment. She's like, "Caitlin, you're all cocky now, but once you get to the league, you'll notice." So I really think it's going to be like a new kids on the block kind of moment where they have to defend their title. And I think it's just going to bring the whole competitiveness as a whole up to a higher level for the
yeah
women's.
yeah Yeah, so because like you said, I'm very, with the amount of eyes that the women's are getting in college and all those superstars moving up, it's going to draw more attention to the WNBA as well, which,
Yeah.
I mean, is nothing but good.
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, I really think having it where, a little girl can look up to, Caitlin Clark or Angel Reese or Sue Bird or, anything like this rather than like a man. They can still look up to, Michael Jordan and LeBron or whoever. Like, that's great. But I just think they can relate more to these WNBA players. And it's such
Yeah.
like more achievable goal of like, this is what I want to do in that game, in that path, going stuff like that. And it's just much more of a role model. So I do think the next generation, if you will, of the Caitlin Clarks, Angel Reese's, the people I mentioned just before, and the people who come after that. Because I know Angel Reese has a teammate. I wish I remember her name, but has a teammate that's really good too. Or there's that girl who got dogged on by Caitlin Clark, but she's transferring and shit like that. Like it's. I think it's just gonna this is gonna be the turning point. This is gonna be the Magic Johnson, Larry Bird era isk of the NBA, where now is gonna turn a different side of the coin, and really gonna put them up there in that atmosphere of great ball players, great role models, great all that for the generations to come.
Yeah. I mean, I agreed with literally everything you said right there. And in my opinion, the women's season ended off with such a great game. The women's season, I mean, from start to finish, was nothing but great. From the like you said, the people that came up and whatnot, and just to be able to finish it in the tournament with like great game after great game and whatnot, and even with the men's college tournament as well, finishing it off with great game after great game. College basketball ended off this season with a bang.
Yep.
But that's it for college basketball for this season. So that's it for college basketball for this show for a little while.
Yep.
There might be a couple nuggets here and there, but we're not going to be able to talk about games or anything like that.
No, 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 not at all. So I do have a question and a topic regarding Zach Edey, but I do think we should get the NFL out of the way since there's not much to talk about there. We'll just do a quick recap, and then we can talk about the draft or
Well,
do
if
the
we're gonna
draft and then
start,
the
yes, because if we're gonna start with the NFL, then we're gonna start off with some special teams, special
special,
plays, and special
special
players.
players.
What's up, brother? Has been absolutely lighting it up. Sketch is anywhere and everywhere. There was a Sports Center show that started off with that quote. Sketch was able to go to the NFL headquarters, and Sketch was even able to practice with C.J. Stroud, Tank Dell, and Stephon Diggs.
That's so awesome, dude.
That's so awesome.
You know what's really crazy too? It's the fact that Sketch and this kind of goes with like the whole recent movement of like the ninjas, the the popular Twitch, popular YouTube channels and all, whatnot. How like important they're getting, dude. Like it is insane. I remember I would get made fun of for watching. Shout out to KYR Speedy and the crew and all that, but I used to get made fun of for watching that, and now, I mean, just YouTube and streamers has taken over the world. I mean, for Christ's sakes, Sketch, and maybe he's been doing it for a long time, but he's just now getting popular. But it seemed like he just came on the scene, and now he's like getting quoted by ESPN and practicing with NFL players and all that. It is insane about just how popular these entertainers, if you will, are getting.
And the nice, or well, not the nice. It is nice, But the great thing about it being sketch is we've come to understand from like clips and whatnot and podcasts that he's done that Sketch the streamer puts on a character, but even on like podcasts and whatnot, when he shows his true self, he's a genuine nice guy.
Yeah.
Because like he might
Yeah.
try to keep up the act and whatnot, but like really when you can see him sit down and talk to Jinxie on a podcast, or he did one with it was a weightlifter. I was just listening to it today. I'm so sorry for not being able to pull this up. But like he's just a genuine guy.
Yeah, and I had the same reaction with Jinxie too. Like after watching his, because I'm not gonna lie, I only saw him on YouTube Shorts and all that, and I thought he was very arrogant. I was like, "What is this guy doing? Like he's showing his toes on stream and kicking the damn desk over and stuff like that." And then watching some of his takes and his comments and kind of like his what goes on behind the scenes and behind the camera and whatnot, it's crazy because like at the end of the day, these guys are like normal people. They're like
Yeah.
they're us. They have normal life problems and all that. And I think it just comes down to society holding these people to like such a greater image or like on a pedestal. Like it seems like if you run into Jinxie in public, he's gonna tell you have bad aim or that you're a copper or yell at you. But no, not at all. Like he understands what's entertaining. He understands what people want to watch, and that's the persona he puts on, just like Sketch. And I feel like, especially with all these podcasts coming out, shout out to us, that that like you're really seeing the other side of it. Like for us, for instance, we're huge dicks. I mean, we're the biggest assholes in the world behind this podcast, right?
Oh, exactly. You get me on a Xbox headset, and it's gone. It's out of there.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I mean, I bet my house routinely on mortgage or on sports betting. If I don't get it, then I rage out. There's holes in my walls that I am betting that when I lose. No,
Yeah.
on a real note, I don't know, it's beautiful to see.
Well, it's that, and it's like I don't know, for streamers being able to kind of put up that character and put up that act for many hours a day, it could be tough, don't get me wrong, but like when you're just sitting there and having a conversation with somebody, it's hard to not show true colors.
Hmm.
It's like we get on here, we talk for it's just me and you, like there's people listening to us, but there's nobody else joining the conversation, you know? They can join the
Exactly,
conversation in
except
the
for Peyton
comments,
Manning.
which, we do monitor and try to respond to. But like
Hmm.
here when we're recording it, it's just us two, and it's hard
Yeah,
to not be genuine. Because I mean, what
yeah,
you hear from me and Shelby is what you're gonna hear from me and Shelby anywhere.
yeah. Like truly, like outside the podcast, we are best friends. I mean, we talked about each other being our, best men at each other's weddings and all that. Like that is the true side of us. Like we are super close. We understand each other's problems. We understand what pisses each other off. There are times where I'm sure Nick can say the same about me, but where Nick, he knows my buttons. He'll say something, like let's say, I don't know, I say a joke and it doesn't land. You know, I do get that look. I get that look, and he doesn't have to say a single word. But at the end of the day, I know, I'd do anything for this guy and all that. So it's cool to see the streamers showing that side of it too. Like you can be human.
Yeah, and to be able to get the opportunities that he has with going and being stepping on a football field with the offensive rookie of the year in C.J. Stroud, and a top 5 wide receiver in the league in Stephon Diggs. Like he's being able to do all this, and
Yeah, and he's a Texan fan, correct?
he is a Texans fan.
Oh, dude, yeah. Catch me on the field with even Geno Smith. Like, no offense to Geno. Like, I feel like I bet if he ever talks to me, he's just gonna punch him in the mouth. But like even if you catch me on the field with Geno Smith and DK and Tyler Lockett, I would have the time of my life, the absolute time of my life, and that's not even including them like using my phrase. and knowing who I am and stuff like that is
Yeah.
such an unreal moment that I just love. I love that someone can have that opportunity to get.
Yeah. And then so that's that's a big thing that kind of happened. That's kind of in the NFL realm.
That's age
The
close
only
enough. It
other thing
involves
that I
NFL players.
the only other thing that I really took an eye to is the draft stock on Drake May. Like
Hmm.
I know that we've been doing
Now
our own drafts
that's
and whatnot. We haven't
is
really
that
talked about
North Carolina?
that is North Carolina, yes.
Okay. Okay.
But so I know that we've been doing our own drafts and we haven't really talked about the draft that much.
Hmm.
Um, Drake May is the quarterback from North Carolina, entered the draft, and I have seen everything. I have seen every comment you could have about a quarterback that's going to go in the top five. I've seen that he's supposed to be the next Josh Allen. I've seen that he shows glimpses of Justin Herbert, and I've also like ex NFL GMs say that whoever drafts him is going to get fired
Yeah.
because of how bad a decision it's going to be. So I'm so confused. It's granted it's North Carolina football, so I didn't pay attention to it, but I don't think I've ever seen somebody have this much controversy to be a top 5 NFL pick. So that was a big thing for me, and I had to tell somebody, and so I'm telling it to all the viewers out there.
Right. So do you
But
think he'll end up being a top pick then? Well, I think he'd be a top pick just because there's so much people that in the NFL league that puts so much stock into quarterbacks. But
I
do you
think
think
it's
someone from the higher up is going to be getting him?
well, I think that he's going to be a top 5 pick because of, like you said, a lot of people placing value on quarterbacks and the amount of top teams that need a quarterback. I mean, when you look at the draft, I think like 3, maybe 4 out of the top 5 might take a quarterback or are going to take a quarterback. And out of the top 10, they're saying like 7 or 8 teams might take a quarterback.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've seen it's the same thing with like JJ McCarthy. I've seen JJ McCarthy be anywhere from like a late third round draft pick to this team to after his pro day being like the number 4 overall pick.
So I guess it also comes down to a question: how much stock do you put into the pro day? Because do you because Trey Lance, I believe, had a good pro day, didn't he?
It was not Trey Lance, it was Zach Wilson.
No, well, I was saying because Trey Lance had a pretty good career in college, wasn't it? Or am I tripping?
Trey Lance, I mean, he had a decent time in college. He played for
Okay, so I
South
think he
Dakota
had a.
State, which was, I mean, that's not the most known. I think they're FCS.
Okay, so
Um,
I think it was the other way around. Regardless, let's go back to the Zach Wilson because we
and so
have
a lot
definite
of
things
people,
there.
a lot of people are saying JJ McCarthy is going to be the next Zach Wilson, where he kind of plays decent behind a good team in college, goes out there, wows everybody for his pro day, and then will get to the leagues and just absolutely shit
Bomb.
the bed,
Yeah.
essentially. Just
Yeah.
absolutely shit the bed. And it's hard to give a lot of leeway to pro days now because of Zach Wilson. And if whatever happens to JJ McCarthy and whatnot, but because Zach Wilson grew and rose in his stock so much because of his pro day to do what he has been doing these past couple years, it's hard to put stock into pro day.
Right. I can see that, but that's what makes it so hard for like college scout or NFL scouts and all that is because you have such different opponents in college. I mean, you have the Alabamas who, back in the day are notorious for not playing anyone good up until the playoffs. or you have the Notre Dames where they're playing all the tough opponents, or you have the people from the Dakotas like Trey Lance and Carson Wentz and stuff like that. They don't play two tough teams, but they also don't have that much weapons as I know he worked out, but Joe Burrow. I mean, that LSU team had insane NFL talent, and most of their team got drafted. Opposed to the Dakotas, where Trey Lance was the only guy who comes out of there. Carson Wentz is
Yeah.
the only guy who comes out of there. So, yeah, obviously we're not scouts, but I definitely feel for the scouts. I mean, that's a tough-ass job. Very tough job, especially when you get listed as, like, a bust so quick in the league anymore. Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah. And that's all I had for the NFL. Obviously, we're not done with the NFL because we've started a tradition. We like to do
Let's go.
our own drafts. These
Mm-hmm.
past
Yes,
2
sir.
weeks, we've done a couple drafts here. Personally, I think I'm 2-0. Personally,
No
we weren't able
no
to
one
see.
said in the comments
Nobody said it in
what
the
the score
comments.
was. So you may believe 2-0. I believe 1-1. I definitely think last week you won, but I came out with a
However,
vengeance. I think I got this pretty well. Not pretty well won, of course. We'll have to see. But I put a lot of thought into mine.
so big shout out to the comment section. We actually pulled this idea from the comments. So this week's topic is going to be we are going to be drafting snack foods.
Mm-hmm.
Now we didn't really set a criteria for this. We did not go road trip snacks. We didn't go, this has to be one brand. This is just snack foods.
Snacks,
Yeah.
and you have to say like the flavor if it's a chip, or you can't be like, oh, the whole brand of chips as a whole. You have to be
Yeah.
pretty specific on that one.
Yes.
So, with that being said, I'm pretty sure I had the first pick. Are you wanting the first pick, or do you want to do the odds
I
and even
like
game?
I like this alternating thing.
Okay. Okay.
We did
All
it for the
right.
first pick, but now we go back and forth. Now we know who has
Um,
the advantage going into drafts and whatnot.
I'm gonna say I'm about it, so I'll let you go first, then, Beauty.
You're about it. Ooh. Ooh, let's
I'm about it.
go. I love this snack. I'm
Okay.
taking it round one, pick one. You get a little bit of chocolate in there. You get a little bit of peanut butter in there. And I'm taking the Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, round one, pick one.
Ooh. Okay. Okay. I like that. I like that. What is your favorite version of Reese's?
My favorite version of Reese's is the Peanut Butter Cups.
Oh, the actual cups itself?
Well, yes, the actual cups itself,
Oh,
because
no
there's
way, dude. Over
there's
the
so many
eggs?
over the eggs. Of course, over
Yeah.
the eggs.
Bro, them eggs are so much peanut butter. I love it.
I picked the cups because of the variety that you get. They're all cups, but you can get the little tiny ones that come in their own individual packages. You can go king size and get like the 3 giant ones. You can get the normal size, get the 2 regular sized ones.
Yeah, dude, there's something. I think you're kind of onto something. There is something about a Halloween normal like cup that just comes in that one package with like the white cardboard almost on the
Mm-hmm.
bottom.
Mm-hmm.
There's something about that smacks, dude. That is so good. You know what?
You can even
I still think I'm Team Egg,
you can
but I
even
understand
go
where you're coming
to
from.
you can even go to the gas station, get like a pack of a bunch of little ones in their own individual wrapped ones.
Yeah,
Round one, pick one. Reese's
that's
peanut butter cups.
that's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Um, so I think with my first pick, I'm gonna go with Old Reliable. It feels like no one really doesn't like this flavor.
Okay.
Um, is probably the most popular Dorito. I'm gonna go nacho cheese. The reason why
Ooh.
I didn't go Cool Ranch is because
Ooh.
sometimes it's just a little too spicy and inconsistent. Because there are some bags that you look in there and you see all types of red, blue, and green flake. And then there's other chips that are just bare. But I
I
feel
was
like
gonna
with
say it's
nacho cheese Doritos, you get a constant nacho cheese.
the big thing with Cool Ranch is you have that God chip, where it seems like all of the seasoning has went to that one chip.
Yep, and all other 95% of chips suck. Like they're like, it's fine. Then you pull up that one, and it's like last piece of it was, and like it weighs 10 times heavier than the other chips
Of
because it has
course,
that
yes.
much more seasoning.
Now, I'm not gonna lie. I was gonna clown you if you did not have nacho cheese Doritos on your list at all because of how much you talked about them couple episodes ago.
Oh, dude, best drunk food.
I mean, as to say, it was a
Best drunk food.
30-minute cold opening about how much you love nacho cheese Doritos.
Oh, dude, they're so good.
That's a good one. I gotta combat nacho cheese Doritos
Okay.
with my pick number two, and I'm gonna do it with my pick number two because I want the I have to have this snack on here. This snack was a big part of my life, pun intended, because it is the snack that made me big.
Yeah.
Where would I be at? I gotta put Cheez-Its on here.
Cheez-Its is
Round
good.
number two.
So Cheez-Its is my fifth pick, and I put him that low because I'm like, there's absolutely no way he doesn't choose Cheez-Its.
I have to just because A, Cheez-Its are great. Like Cheez-Its are just phenomenal.
Oh
And
yeah.
B, because of the impact that they had on my life, you know? They made me a chunky kid. I'm no longer said chunky kid, but they made me into it. And
Yeah.
I love Cheez-Its. Still to this day I
They're
love
good.
Cheez-Its.
They're really good. I think we talked about this. Which one's your favorite? Is it just normal?
Just original.
Just original.
I'm an
Original is
original
good.
basic bitch.
Original is good. I still think I'm a fan of hot and spicy. I like things
Mm-hmm.
a little spicy in life, but that's a good one. Um, with my other two, so it's funny because your first pick was sweet. My first pick was savory. You went more savory, and I'm gonna go back to sweet. So I'm gonna go with the most important one. I had this on my most fun inventions. Give me the double stuffed Oreos.
Ooh, the Oreos. That's a good one.
Now, I have to say, I know I can't take and milk, but that would be my pick. Double stuffed Oreos and milk.
Well, of course. I mean, those are pretty. Those two are, they go hand in hand.
Yes. What is it? Milk's favorite cookie? I'm pretty sure that's Oreo's slogan. So
Yeah, these. Just looking at these superstars right now. I mean, they're pretty much battling each other. This is a 50-50 draft so far.
I've told you that I came with it.
It's
I came
nice.
with it.
My
Yeah, not
my
like the
opponent
last one where
actually
it's like
claimed
absolute dog from the beginning.
my opponent actually came to play. Unbelievable. Love to see it. However, I am not one to shy away. We just talked about Sketch, and as Sketch says, pressure makes diamonds. And with the pressure on, I'm going to take it, and I'm going to take some Welch's fruit snacks.
Ooh, that's good. I had fruit snacks as number 6, just like the cheeses. I'm like, there's no way he doesn't take it.
Yeah,
You,
I gotta.
for the audience, Nick is an absolute fiend when he's drinking for fruit snacks.
Joke's
Absolute
on
fiend.
you. I don't even gotta be drunk. I'm sober right now, and I'm a fiend for fruit snacks.
All right, all right. I like that. I like how it's specifically Welch's.
Well, yeah, we said specific. You gotta go Welch's because Welch's is the best brand. Best brand.
I agree with that. I do think they have the best flavors. You know what's a close second for me? The Scooby Doo ones.
Oh, the Scooby Doo ones are good.
Dude,
You get
they're pretty
you get a
bomb.
pack
They're pretty
with
bomb.
like 3 or 4 of those light blue ones.
Oh, dude, the blue
That's
raspberry dog.
that's enough to send a man to heaven.
I think blue raspberry has to be probably the greatest like overall flavor. I don't think I ever had anything bad that's blue raspberry.
Yeah.
Because like cherry, there's sweet cherry, there's sour cherry with grape. Not a lot of people like grape. I feel like just a natural safe thing is blue raspberry.
Well, just thinking of all like the blue Sour Patch Kid, the blue Raspberry Dum Dum.
The blue, yeah, oh god, those are so good. That was my favorite thing about going to the bank with my mom. Is like the bank we would go bank through would give us suckers, and because at the time my mom and my dad owned a business, so we were there pretty often.
Hmm.
They would let me and my sister pick our own. And dude, my sister was a big root beer fan, so she always went with the root beer. I instantly looked for that blue and just grabbed it because even blue cotton candy was good. No, it
Exactly.
ain't no blue raspberry, but even the blue's good.
Exactly.
Um, whew, dude, that's good. That is good. I think I'm gonna go with a. I think a really, really, really good road trip snack. One that I was gonna get for us, but since you're driving, then you can get it your damn self. But
Okay. Okay.
um, there's almost two different people because I feel like just about everyone likes beef. This product.
Ooh, you already said it, but I know where you're
I
headed.
know, I
That's
know.
a
I messed up. Everyone kind of liked this product, whether it's the juicy thick one or my favorite, the dry and thin. I'm gonna go
where it
beef
feels,
jerky.
yeah, where it really feels like you're really biting through leather, flavored leather.
Oh, dude, but it's so salty and good, dude. No man's sponsor the podcast, baby. I will. I will get a tattoo of No Man's Jerky on my body.
I will
I
also
love
get a
that shit.
tattoo of No Man's because it is
Oh,
great.
dude, too bad it costs like your firstborn child to get like a good size
Exactly.
pack. Oh
Exactly.
my god, beef jerky's awesome. So yeah, that's my third pick.
That's a oh, especially because beef jerky. I mean, like you said, you have like Jack Links, you have No Man's Land. You can get kind of the real rubbery ones or even the juicy ones and stuff like that. So there's still that bit of variety in there. So that's a good one.
Yep, yep.
Now I'm looking at this. I got 3 superstars on my team.
Okay,
I got Reese's peanut butter cups, I got Cheez-Its, and
great
I got
pick.
Welch's fruit snacks. Those are
Yep.
3 superstars. However, the key part of a draft is you got to draft a team. You got to draft role players. You got to understand you're not going to win with 5 superstars on the court. You got to have players that know their role. And this player knows its role, and he does it well. In fact, this
Okay.
player doesn't have just one role. This player has a little bit of a sweet role, a little bit of a tasty role. This player has been a very good role player and role model for many years.
All
Round
right.
4, I'm gonna round out my team. And I understand I still got one left, but I'm gonna
Yeah.
get trail mix.
Damn it! Damn it! Damn it, dude! Oh, damn it, bro! That was. Oh, I thought I had you. I specifically put trail mix that doesn't have any raisins. Damn it! Oh, bro.
Yeah, you thought I
I
forgot. You
really,
can't
I
forget about
really did
trail
think you would
mix.
say that.
Ooh,
Damn it.
ooh. We rounding out the team. We getting role players here. Trail mix. It's not something that
It
somebody
involves
like.
so much, dude.
It involves so much. It might not be somebody's favorite. In fact, very few people are going to say trail mix is their favorite. However, I don't think there's a single person that despises trail mix. He goes out there and he does his job.
That's true, dude. That's true. That's true. Ah, dude, that's upsetting. Dude, I thought for sure you would have forgot that. Oh man, I forgot. I thought you would forget
Shelby, I didn't think I'd have to remind you.
that.
I work at a gas station.
That's true. That is
I
true.
know snacks.
That is true. Okay. Okay. I have to kind of pivot here because I think my next pick I can get later on.
And
So
you only have two picks left.
yes, but I really don't think you have this or have this last one. So I'm gonna go with an absolute staple at the swim meets. Absolute staple. It has, your mom's always telling you to get this vitamin that is going to help you and all that, and it's something that's sweet but also healthy. It makes you feel a little healthy. It regenerizes you. I'm gonna go cuties with my fourth pick.
Dang, I was gonna round out the team with that.
I'm gonna have to go
That was
cuties.
my
Like I
round
said,
five
an
pick.
absolute swimming / sporting event staple.
It is. Anytime after you get done after a swim meet, boom, you got the cuties waiting for you. You get done after a baseball game, boom, cuties waiting for you. You get done after a
Yep.
football game, boom, cuties. Basketball, boom, cuties. That's a good one. That's a good pick. Now, here from my pick number five, I feel like I am doing a justice here because we have a Doritos on the squad. You have a Doritos on your squad,
Okay.
but neither of us have yet to pick a Pringles.
Okay.
And Pringles, I mean, all of those flavors they come out to play. Every single chip. Very seldomly do you get a chip with little flavor when it comes to Pringles. They're a well-rounded person. They might have an off game here or there, but they're solid all the way through.
Okay.
And I'm thinking instead of going, I think I'm going to go with one of my favorite Pringles to round this team off.
Okay.
And I'm going to go with some sour cream and onion Pringles for
Good
my pick
choice.
number five.
Good choice. Your mom really put me on to the truthfully. I think those are now my favorite Pringles. They're basic, but they hit the spot, just like you're saying. But sour cream and onion, pretty damn good choice.
That's what that's what I'm rounding my team out with.
Okay. Okay.
That's
So
looking like a pretty good snack team right there.
yeah, you got Reese's, you got a little bit of sweet, you got a little bit of savory, you got a chip.
I got the chip. I got the healthy option and trail mix with all the nuts and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. You got with raisins. You can have M&Ms in it if you want to. You got the fruit snacks. Oh, fruit
Yep.
snacks. Like you said, we got the chips. We got Pringles, and we even got Cheez-Its covering that. And then
Yep.
even if you want to sit down with just some good old-fashioned chocolate, you got Reese's peanut butter cups.
Yeah. So oh man, so I have savory and nacho cheese Doritos. I got sweet chocolate, sweet dessert-ish in double stuffed Oreos. I got savory and filling, and it just seems like you're like a caveman when you eat some good old no man's beef jerky. Then you have the overall, it's sweet, it's full of vitamins and cuties. So my last pick you have a candy, I think I'm going to go with a candy. I'm going off the list. I am. I did not write this down. I'm going off the list. I'm going free ball. Off the dome like I'm in Eminem.
Okay.
And I'm in between two things. And I think I will end my list with a good old. It has some of the best commercials with Patrick chewing. You're not you when you're hungry. I'm going to go
Oh,
with some Snickers for my last pick. It has
Snickers.
caramel, it has peanuts, it has nougat, it has chocolate. I mean, there's not much you can do. You can freeze it, make it hard as shit, which is my favorite. It's like you have to work at it to really chew it up. It's just always, it's all reliable. You know, no one, I don't know a single person, unless they're allergic to peanuts, that looks, you know, when they're a kid, they're going house to house for trick or treating and says, I don't want my Snickers. You want to trade? Never met that person. And you probably never will because Snickers is such a good, solid pick.
It is, and like we've said, Snickers is a solid pick. We're not going to win out here with five superstars. You gotta
Yep.
have, you gotta have some role players, and
You're going to
Snickers,
have your Draymond Greens that does just a little bit of
exactly,
everything except for
exactly.
fighting.
People that go out there, beef jerky is gonna be that role player night in and night out.
Yep.
It's not always gonna be the number one option, but when it's his time to have the basketball, he's gonna prove why he's still an NBA player.
Yep. Yep.
Looking at
So,
these lists, we'll recap the lists.
yep.
I have Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, Cheez-Its, Welch's Fruit Snacks, Trail Mix, and Sour Cream and Onion Pringles.
And I have nacho cheese Doritos, double stuffed Oreos, specifically with the resealable top.
Got it, of course.
I got the No Man Land's beef jerky. I have cuties or halos, depending on where you're at, and Snickers.
Now, looking at these lists, let us know
I
who won
say
the
it's neck
comments.
and neck, dude.
Of course. Let us know who won in the comments. You're right. You came to play. You came to play.
Yeah,
However,
it's
there's some big ones that we left off the board.
okay. Like what?
Neither of us took Skittles.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Neither of us took M&Ms.
That's the one I was in between. I was gonna go peanut M&Ms or
Mm.
Snickers, and I just decided to go Snickers. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I should have
There's a
went
couple,
Peanut M&Ms or Skittles or anything like that. I don't know.
gummy bears didn't get put on there.
True. You ever
A
had
couple.
chocolate covered gummy bears?
Oh, of course I've had chocolate
Dude,
covered
they're so
gummy
good.
bears. They're
I had
so good.
them when my girlfriend introduced them to me, and I did not expect them to. Like when she told me, like, dude, white chocolate gummy bears are so good. I was like, gross. That does not sound like they should mix. And goddamn, do they? They mix so well.
So yeah, that is draft number 3. Once again, let us know who won in the comments, and let us know what your draft might have been if you'd have been in here.
Yeah, and banger suggestion. You know, of course, if you guys have more suggestions, you can by all means send them through, and we'll take a look and kind of see about which one we like the best. But you know, shout out to the last commentary because they had some bangers. This one being one, and I really liked it. It took a lot of thinking, some memory lane kind of stuff. You know, all types of stuff. So shout out to you.
Got the taste buds tingling, got the mouth watering, had me
Mm-hmm.
hungry at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon after I just got done eating lunch.
Yep. So I was gonna go with sunflower seeds, but to me, that's more
Mm,
like an idle thing, you know? Kind of like gum. Like I'm not gonna say gum's a snack,
yeah.
you know? And that's honestly, I didn't have any candy on here because I was thinking, oh, that's more like I'll eat snacks. But I'm glad you picked peanut butter Reese's cups, because I can't believe I was gonna let off some candy.
Yeah, well, that will conclude the draft for this week, and we still have yet to talk about NBA. We're kind of
Yeah,
running a little short here on time. We got NBA to cover.
right. And that's good, and especially with like what I was saying earlier in the pod, that with it becoming kind of towards the end of the season, things are gonna be where they lie. Of course, there's some things we can talk about, but for the most part, the thing I want to talk to you about, the thing I mentioned about Zach Edey, is I saw a thing on Instagram saying, "Is he a lottery pick?" And reading them comments are really, really telling, because the number one thing you see is that's the number one thing, and I don't necessarily think that's correct, but I was going to have your opinion on that. So the
You
lottery
said
teams,
so. You said the number one thing is what?
the comments, they always say it's Luka Garza. They always bring up Luka Garza,
Hmm. Mm-hmm.
and
Well,
you
so
know what
the
I'm saying?
big
Like, oh,
thing,
he was,
yeah, because Luka Garza was same boat, best player in college, but his game didn't translate into the NBA very well.
yeah,
The thing with Edie is that a lot of people are saying that it's just his size, that when he starts playing people that are similar to his size, he's not going to be able to do anything.
hmm which
However,
we've seen big players just don't pan out. Like that's nothing new. We've seen that before.
yes. But I also think that if you give Edie, I don't know if he'll be a star in the league. I don't. Because with his play style, he's very much in the paint. However, with his length, I think that he will manage to be a solid player on any team. I mean, he's
Right.
7'3". It's like having a Taco Fall that actually knows how to play basketball,
So I think his role is going to be almost like a Clint Capella.
which
I
is
can
perfectly
see
fine.
a Clint Capella in him. Yeah, Clint Capella, JaVale McGee, a the whoever the centers for the Warriors is. I cannot think of his name. That's going to kill me.
But so, because yeah, it's kind of that. Zach Edey is going to be very much in the paint, help defense type thing, and on offense, just give him the ball on the post whenever you need it. It might
hmm
take a couple games for him to get transitioned. It might. He might also come out and score 20 points on game number one.
hmm
It is truly going to be difficult to see where Edie is going to fit at because of players like Luka Garza, who were the best players in college but didn't pan out to the NBA. But I think Zach Edey has done enough in college to certify himself as a lottery pick.
Right. And the thing is I think he should be a position draft, not a best situation or best
Exactly.
player
That's what I was
draft.
thinking as well. You
Like,
draft him for
because
the center position instead of drafting him because he's a good player.
yep, like for instance, so I went ahead and got all the lottery teams. I picked Warriors over Rockets. It could very well, so those are kind of interchangeable. But they're going to be the Raptors, the Hornets, the Spurs, the Nets, the Wizards, the Pistons, Trailblazers, Jazz, Warriors, and Grizzlies. Those are all the lottery teams, and I definitely think he should go to a lottery team, because I do think he's good of a player. I think he's that impactful. But
Yes.
I'm kind of interested to get your opinions. What team do you think? And if you want, we can go by them one by one. What team do you think he would most fit, or would make sense for that team to draft?
Trailblazers.
The Trailblazers. Okay, even if they have DeAndre Ayton.
Well, because DeAndre Ayton can kind of help Edie with transitioning.
Okay.
Because DeAndre Ayton was very much that college player as well. Just um, down low, help defense, down low in the post. at Arizona had a tough time transitioning from NFL or from college to NBA.
Hmm.
I think DeAndre Ayton would be a very good mentor if he wanted to be. I'm not saying he has to be.
Yeah.
But you also get him with a young core. Scoot Henderson's very young. If he
Yeah.
goes to the Trailblazers, he doesn't have to be win now mode. He doesn't have to be pan out right now mode. He can actually have time to kind of transition the way he wants to.
Okay. That is actually really, really interesting because I have him going to almost a complete different situation in the Grizzlies. I think the Grizzlies, with Ja Morant being out, and most of their team being in shambles, Jaren Jackson then gets to roam around like he kind of wants to. Then you have a big man down low, which is going to be like the Steven Adams. He had his nasty injury this year. We love Steven Adams here, so get well, mate. But I think that would be such a good role for him because Steven Adams, one, is such a good teacher. I mean, you look at Domantas Sabonis, you look at even Enos Freedom, Enos Cantor, Enos Freedom now. Even look at him, he had a really, really, really good offensive rebounding and his post game. And I think Steven Adams is something that can kind of complement that. And whether Adams is a starter, runs with them, or off the bench or whatever, I think Edie would fit really well with a fast running team as the Grizzlies because it's always nice having that big man that if Jaw's stuck, he can just lob it up. Because how much alley oops have we seen Edie finish? That would be a really good pairing with the Grizzlies.
Yeah, especially with the shooters around him too. Desmond Bain, like you said, Jaren Jackson Jr. could kind of roam around.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's a pretty good situation if he falls to the Grizzlies, and if the Grizzlies want
Yeah,
to take him.
yeah. I think the Grizzlies are kind of in that situation where they want to fill in the holes because they have a top 15 player in John Morant. They have a really good two-way player in Desmond Bain. They have a defense player of the year, former defense player of the year, in in
Triple J.
in Triple J, and they had a really fun swagger to the team where I think Edie can be a plug and play. The other team I had was the Hornets, which is about the same thing. You have Lamella, who's always looking to get players involved. Then you have the emergence of Brandon Miller. This last year, it feels like he really came out of his shell. So
Yeah,
those are the two I would be interested in. I think Spurs. I think you'll just have too much big men, too much things going on. Um, the Nets are just a dumpster fire. Same thing with the Pistons and the Wizards. I mean, they need a lot more
well,
than just that.
the Pistons also have Jalen Duren, who's been a bright spot in their very muddy year.
Hmm. That and with the Pistons and the Wizards, I don't think you should take Zach Edey that early. That's why I think the Grizzlies would be working out because as of now, let me look up the standings for the NBA.
Yeah,
As
because
of now, that's the East. The Grizzlies are the 13th seed,
yeah,
and with 27 games, they can be around the 8 round, where I think 8 would be good for Zach Edey.
yeah. No, I agree with you there. He very tough to be a top three pick, but if he can go top 10, kind of later in the top 10, I think it'd be a very good fit for any of the teams over there.
Yep, I think so too. In other news, like I said, Zach Edey is such a hot topic right now. Like you said, being the best player of March Madness and being such a big body and all that, which really works well in college.
Yeah,
I want to transition into the Knicks. They just lost Randall for the rest of the year. He's getting surgery on I believe his shoulder. Um, but they are also getting OG back. Uh, the Knicks. I personally like the Knicks better without Randall. Not saying, you know, they need to just if Randall was playing, not saying they need to just completely ditch him. But I think we talked about this where I think Randall should be shopped around, whatever. But you have any thoughts on the Knicks?
It is tough for a lot of the Knicks fans because I know like Stephen A. Smith and stuff like that. They were very amped up with how the Knicks season was going. The Knicks could have potentially got the 2 seed. I mean, I don't know if they still can or not, but I know that it's a very up year, and especially when you're having this good of a year and one of your superstars are out, then like a lot of fans get their hopes up and whatnot. But I'm with you in the fact that I think isn't the or losing Randall for the year is not a bad thing. Because like
This
you
is the
said,
end of the
Julius
year, yeah.
Randall, when he gets hot, he's so fun to watch because he'll jack up anything and everything. However, I also feel like he'll jack up anything and everything when he's not hot.
Cold as well, yeah. And also back to the Knicks comment about being the second seed. They are one game behind the Bucks, and the
Okay.
Bucks are off of a super bad downfall in a
Yes.
3-7 in their last 10 games. With the
Yeah, the
Magic
Bucks have
being
just been
third, and
the
honestly, dude, like looking at the standings, dude, the East is just like in shambles right now.
yeah.
I mean, you have the Knicks that's 5-5 with facing injuries. You have the Magic who's really young, going 6-4. You have the Bucks who is, probably in people's minds, like, you know, at the beginning of the season when they heard the Dame trade, probably top five in the whole league, going 3-7 behind the Doc Rivers and losing very vital games. I mean, they're
Yeah.
dropping to the Pistons or the Wizards or whichever one of which. And then you have the Cavs who are falling behind with also a 3-7. You have the young flying Pacers 7-3. You have the 76ers with Joel Embiid coming back and looking pretty good. You have the Heat who I'm so tired about talking about the Heat, truthfully.
Playoff
And
Jimmy next.
yeah, yeah, I don't know. It's like that's a whole brand now. Like I feel like they specifically get to these playing games because they think it's like a routine, like it's like a stretching for the big game kind of thing. I don't know. I'm sick of it. But it's the East is really really kind of in shambles and kind of falling apart when the West. I mean, you look at it, the Mavericks are 9-1, the hottest team in basketball right. I mean, Luca looking like an MVP, who is my MVP, which we'll get into that later. And then you have Kyrie, who's just on one. And then you have, the other supporting cast playing really good basketball right now. You have the Thunder, who's 5-5, who's kind of slipping behind. You have the Nuggets and the Timberwolves again fighting for that one seed. I mean, it's going to be a very, very, very exciting playoffs for sure.
Oh yeah. I mean 100%. That's the glory of the playoffs.
Mm. And real quick, back to the Zach Edey thing, just real quick. I just looked at the standings. The Rockets are most likely not going to be getting the play-in over the Warriors. Have complete melters are
Yeah,
three
the
and
the
35.
Rockets have completely melted down ever
Yeah,
since.
I think the lights got too bright for them.
Yeah.
So instead of the Hornets for my second team, I like them to go to. I want to bump that to the Grizzlies, and then the Warriors being my one for that. I think they prosper with having a player like that, and I think
The
having a seven
Warriors being
four
the one?
version of Kayvon Looney is going to be insane. What's that?
Mm. No, yeah, I got you now. You're good.
Okay. But I think we should get into our NBA awards real quick because I know we are looking at kind of a time crunch. So,
Yeah.
who's your MVP?
My MVP, I'm with you. You said it earlier, I'm with you.
Luka.
Luca. Luca has
I mean,
been I mean, I feel like Luca has been a lot for the Mavs from the beginning till the end, and Luca is on a nightly basis. I know he had that streak of 30-point triple doubles and stuff like that. And I just think Luka this year has been the best player in the league.
Hmm. I agree. I mean, his defense is looking better from previous years as well. He has the MVP moments. He has the
Yeah.
MVP stats. His team is, really coming up the ranks and running, like I said, 9-1. And recency bias is a thing. It was, and along with voter fatigue. So I do think Luka is going to be my MVP. Rookie of the year. I don't think we need to get into it. Obviously, it's
Yeah,
Wemby. I mean,
it's gonna be Wemby
Chet
for
had a
sure.
good 2 months, but once not so much Wemby, once his teammates realize, hey, this 7'4" Frenchman, I should probably pass him the ball.
Yeah, the dude who's like
Everything
a
changed.
literal walking anomaly, and his only downside is that he's French and not American. Let's give him the ball.
Wow. His only downside, he's the French. Tough. Okay. Well, shout out to our French counterpart.
Yeah, our French viewers.
Yeah. Oh, hey, you never know. That's video YouTube, baby. It's everywhere.
True,
Um,
true.
Defensive Player of the Year. I got Rudy Gobert.
Yeah, I also have Rudy Gobert.
I got Rudy Gobert. I can
He
also
went
see a
back
world
to his
where
old
Wemby gets
self on
it.
the Jazz, where he's been really good defensively, and just what he's been able to do for the Timberwolves as well.
Hmm. I can definitely see a world where Wemby gets it. I just think that's going to be too much. Like trying, like it almost seem like it's forcing Wemby onto the public if he won Rookie of the Year and Defensive Player. But
Yeah,
I definitely see a world where he wins it.
I do think that, but I also think that a lot of the voters are going to see that they have Wemby for their offense or for their Rookie of the Year, and then give it to Rudy Gobert as well.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Um, 6 Man of the Year. I got Malik Monk. I think off of the Kings, he's been doing kind of the same thing. He's coming off the bench, being the spark plug, which I think is so vital in 2B. So that's who I have.
I could argue maybe potentially like a Russell Westbrook, but I mean it's
Mm,
when you get to the end of it, Malik Monk has played more than Russell Westbrook because of this injury that Westbrook had. And yeah,
I
the
didn't
the
think
way
about
Malik
that.
Monk
Yeah.
has just been like I say Russell Westbrook just because of the impact that he's had on the Clippers since Westbrook's come back. The Clippers are starting to look like themselves again and get good solid wins on the board here to end the season. But Malik Monk is probably the right decision to go with.
I don't know, dude. Like I really did not think of that. I think that is going to be something that comes down to, are they going to go, off of
Are they going to go off of scoring or
storylines,
not?
or yeah, storylines or like impact. I think
Yeah.
the fact that Russ comes off and said, "Hey, start me on the bench. Let's do this thing after starting 10 games." I mean, that's really fantastic. I mean, he has 11 points. He's looking at 4 assists, but those 4 assists are kind of giving the spark, kind of being the team leader of the second unit.
Yeah.
But I do kind of like what you were saying with the whole. Let's see if that comes down to scoring or not, because Malik Monk is looking at a 20 points a game.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
So
pretty good.
that is pretty good. So we'll have to see about which one gets which. Um, Coach of the year,
I think
I
it's
got
the
Thunder
Thunder
Coach.
coach.
Yep, I got Thunder Coach Mark, whatever it is. I think
I
he's
think it's
doing a great
Mark
job.
Dagnall. Dagnall.
Dignall, something like that. I think he's doing a great job of. I mean, I don't think anyone really expected them to be this good in their
Yeah.
first year at Chet. So,
Yeah.
shout out to them. They're all playing like a good team. And other than,
So we
Shea
had
getting exactly the 31 points, there always seems to be the next man up. There'll be a Jalen Williams. to be a Chet. They'll be, even now they have Gordon Hayward.
Yeah, it's really funny to me that for the MVP award or for the NBA awards, we had really similar takes for just
Yeah,
about everybody.
yeah, and
And
so I
every
can't figure
award,
that much with the
that's
NBA
what
awards.
kind of happens. Yeah, that's what happens when you get to the end of the year, and that's instead of it being, but we'll see what happens at the end of the year. I mean, it's
There's a
happening.
week left. Yep.
Yeah.
So I figured with the NBA awards it'd be pretty similar. So I wanted to include something that could have a little and little chats and all that. So, our awards. So I have most disappointing team. I have the Warriors. I think with Draymond Green's drama and then Andrew Wiggins looking like a shell of himself. I mean, there's just not, and then Klay Thompson taking a step back. I mean, there's just not much. If you outside of Curry, there's not much life in this team, and it's really sad to see.
My most disappointing team is going to be the Sacramento Kings.
Okay, I like that.
Going
I
from
like that.
going from a young team that finally got a little bit of playoff experience and was the 3 seed last year, coming high hopes into this season to now be an 8 seed.
hmm The only thing about the Kings is it seems like they didn't get better. Like they didn't make any moves season really. So I mean, it's to be expected. I mean, they have 45 wins, and the Mavericks, which is the 5 seed, only has 3 more wins than them. So it's
Yeah.
all super tight West, but regardless, still the 8 seed. So
Yeah.
I agree with you on that. Underrated player of the year. So a player that deserves to get their flowers. I put D'Lo. I feel like in the beginning of the season, D'Lo was always viewed as being kind of bum and that he should get traded and all that. And seeing how emotional he got when around trade season, I mean trade deadline, you can really tell he was on the edge of his seat because he really did think he was going to get traded. Ever since then, D'Lo really turned it up. He been the leader of the team, playing good defense. Really underrated defense. A lot of in the passing lanes and steals and assists and whatnot. So I'm gonna go D'Lo. I have Brandon Miller as well. I feel like with Wemby, he kind of stole the show. No one really talks about Brandon Miller anymore. And then
I
I have
have
Chet.
I have Jalen Suggs.
I like that. I like that.
For Jalen Suggs, I mean, top 5 pick when he came into the draft. A lot of people were thinking that he was going to be the superstar that the Magic needed. He was going to take on that superstar role. He understood his role when Paolo Banchero stepped in. Jalen Suggs, like I said, top 5 pick, superstar aspirations, now has turned into the glue guy for the Orlando Magic. And I mean, we talked about how Derek White kind of gets his flowers for being a glue guy, but you never really hear anything about Jalen Suggs and how he's helped the Orlando Magic kind of propel into being that young team to make the playoffs in the East. And so I think the most underrated player is Suggs.
That's really true. And honestly, kind of the most underrated team in general. I mean, they had the start. Everyone thought it was just fool's gold. And then now they just, kind of snuck their way back up to the 3 seed. I didn't even know there was a 3 seed until I looked it up just now,
Yeah, well,
truthfully.
that's the
So,
thing. The Magic don't get talked about. They don't get like national
mm-mm.
televised games. But I mean, they have the wins and they have the team for it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. Um, my most hopeful team for next year is the Grizzlies. I feel like that's just, I mean, you getting healthy and all that. It kind
Yeah,
of,
you get Ja Morant back. He's a top 15 player. I mean, the Grizzlies were the 2 seed at one point, like last year, and then injuries came in and the suspension and whatnot. But I think next year they'll jump up as well.
yeah. And my second team that I feel like the Grizzlies is like a duh. I had a second team. My second team is going to be the Rockets. I think the Rockets really prove what a good coach can do. I think they finally kind of getting a soul in that team. I think Dylan Brooks, um, is a good addition. I don't really like him much as a person, truthfully, but On the basketball court, he is that junkyard bulldog that almost every team can need, especially if you are a young him. They have Fred Van Fleet, which he just I want to say he's a top guard, but it just seems like he doesn't do anything really wrong. I mean, if he was 6'3", 6'4", he'll be talked about a lot more. But because he is 6 foot, nobody talks about him and whatnot. So I feel like him. I feel like the Thompson twin is really coming into his own. I mean, both the Thompson twins play phenomenal defense. So you have Dylan Brooks and him on top of holy crap, yeah, they're beating the hell out of the Magic right now.
As I say, well, because it's funny that you say that because my number 2 team was the Rockets as well because of Alperen Sengun, Jalen Green, the Thompson twin. Fred Van Vliet's a very good guard for that team, being able to distribute and understand the role. Like you said, Dylan Brooks is the junkyard dog, and I mean they were on a roll for a little bit this season. So whenever they whenever they come out next season, I'm kind of excited to see how they're going to play.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. But other than that, is there anything else you want to add about the NBA? Because I think I'm all out of topics.
No, I think that is where we are going to wrap it up. We thank all of you guys for taking the time out of your day to listen to us ramble. We appreciate each and every one of you. Make sure hit that like button if you enjoyed the podcast. Hit the subscribe button if you want to be able to come back here weekly without having to search it up.
Yep,
And just
yep, for
put in the
sure.
comments, put in the comments what takes you thought were good, what takes you thought were bad, some of your takes maybe. Um, Put in the comments who you think won the draft of the snacks. Once again, we appreciate all of you guys.
Yep,
Thank
and
you.
I appreciate the views recently. It says that we have 12 views as of now and only 6 subscribers. So what did you? If you ain't subscribed to the Off Snap podcast, then where are you at?
My name is Nick. I am joined by Shelby. This is our average podcast, the Shelby Nick Average Podcast, or as we like to call it, Aw Snap. Thank you guys for listening. Make sure to hit like, subscribe, comment, whatever you want, and we will see you all next week.
Bye bye.